Laredo Buzz videocast for Tuesday, April 6th. This is our second videocast. Of course, we had one last week, and we're starting the week today with a videocast where we're going to have a special guest today. I'm really excited. We're going to have Miss Sandra Witten, who ran a campaign against Congressman Henry Cuellar for the 28th Congressional District. She ran to represent our area as in the U.S. House of uh, Representatives. And I'm excited to have her as a guest here. We're going to get the chance to meet her a little bit closer and ask her some questions. And we're going to start off today the same way that we've started off. Oh, and by the way, I am wearing a mask because I do have uh, guest in here with me in front of me. And out of a courtesy for everybody, I will be wearing a mask. They're wearing their mask as well. And it's like I've said before, I'm not letting my guard down with COVID. I'm still going to take the precautions that I need to take. And I'm hoping that everybody takes the precautions. And you can see me moving around a lot. I am reading things as we go from the website. I'm also, of course, I have a TV here in front of me. I'm getting information as we speak, of course, them being from the national media. And again, I'm very excited. We're going to have a guest speaker today, Miss Sandra Witten. She ran a campaign last year, November, against Congressman Henry Cuellar, who represents the 28th Congressional District. And we're going to get more information as far as who she is, where she's from, as well as what her experiences in actually running that campaign. And then also we're going to ask her a little bit about the future campaign as far as dates are concerned, and what it is that exactly, of course, that she has to offer our community. And like I said, like we've done in the past, we will be starting with some of the news updates. We have, of course, the updates at You can follow along at laredobuzz.com. Just go to your browser, go to www.laredobuzz.com. You will see the updates in chronological order as they've been put up. You'll see images as well that follow the news update. All the news updates do come straight, or they are published straight from the sources. I like to give credit where credit is due. The public information officers, they take the time to send us the information, and I like to give credit where credit is due. And we have our update that comes in here from Ms. Jennifer Gutierrez, who's the one of the public information officers for U.S. Customs and Border Protection. And the update tells us that the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Office field operations in the Laredo port of entry seized over $3,000 in street value of marijuana. This took place at the World Trade Bridge, and of course, they continue to enforce tactical strategies that fulfill CBP's mission to protect our border community from prohibited narcotics. And that statement, of course, comes from Acting Port Director Eugene Crawford of the Laredo Port of Entry. Okay, now the way that this happens, it reads, the enforcement action occurred on Tuesday, March 29th, when CBP officers assigned to the cargo facility encountered a tractor manifesting pieces of structural metal arriving from Mexico. The 2014 Kenworth tractor and shipment were referred to by a canine. They had a dog, of course, who alerted the officers to the narcotics. And, once the canine went ahead and notified them, they went, of course, in for secondary inspection, and they uncovered 1,334 packages, which totaled up to 1,607 pounds of alleged marijuana shipment. Okay, the narcotics were estimated to have a street value of $321,518. Narcotics were seized, and of course, the case was turned over to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Homeland Security investigations, where they, of course, conduct further investigations. Now, all of this activity, of course, or what I'm reading to you took place at the World Trade Bridge. Okay, the World Trade Bridge. This did happen on March 29th. Okay, now we have another update. And again, you can follow all these updates at laredobuzz.com. All the updates are categorized. The previous update or the last update that I just told you about, which is in regards to the narcotics, you're going to find that listed under state. Okay, we do have categories for the city of Laredo updates. We have categories for the county. We have a category for the sheriff's department. And that one in particular is sent by the Department of Homeland Security here by the Laredo Port of Entry, or in other words, Border Patrol and Customs. And you will find their information categorized under state. Okay, they will be under state. Now, we do have more information or updates. We have this update coming in from UISD, the good people at the UISD Public Information Department. This comes in from Ms. Carmen Rendon, and she tells us that Centeno Elementary hosts a National Elementary Honor Society induction parade. Okay, they hosted this last week, and uh, this was well, actually, it's going to be hosted. It was hosted on the 4th and the 5th, and it reads that students in that were inducted into the National Elementary Honor Society were recognized for their outstanding academic achievement, for demonstrating personal responsibility to provide service to the school and community, and to develop leadership skills. The students of elementary schools selection for membership is how they base it, is by a faculty council, and is based on outstanding scholarship responsibility. Okay, once selected, members have the responsibility to continue to demonstrate these qualities, to participate in chapter activities, build experience, and improve skills in leadership and service. Special guest for the event was Ramiro Vélez III, who is a UISD trustee, and he is also the UISD board president. Okay, that was Mr. Ramiro Vélez III. He was there to congratulate all the newly inducted students who were inducted into the National Elementary Honor Society. This update was brought to you, of course, by our friends at the UISD Public Information Department. Ms. Carmen Rendon was nice enough to take the time to go ahead and send us this information. We also have one more update from UISD, and this one is coming in from Ms. Lauren Cavazos, and it tells us that Mr. Emmanuel Rimocal has won the regional spelling bee. Okay, the regional spelling bee was held. It was hosted on March 26th. That was on a Friday, and this was done through a video platform. Video platform, and he is the 2021 winner of he is from the United ISD Lamar Vergara Middle School. He's an 8th grade student. Again, his name is Emmanuel Rimocal, and the the way that this worked, it was done virtually, and he will receive the opportunity to participate in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. Okay, this will allow him to compete with other competitive spellers in a nationwide effort. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that would more than likely, of course, be done virtually as well. Okay, now he is not the only winner here from Laredo, or the only one who placed. We do have a second and third place winner. They were also recognized in the competition. Okay, we do have a second place winner, which was an 8th grader from United Middle School. Her name is K1 Nan, and she is an eighth grader at United Middle. And then we also have a third place, winner, which is Miss Paula Davis, and she is from Gonzales Middle School. Okay, now they had over 60 students who competed this year, and this year's, of course, was a historical virtual spelling bee. This is the first time that was done, and this all took place individually from their home campuses. Okay, and this was something that where it was done in collaboration between UISD, LISD, and the literacy volunteers of Laredo. So again, congratulations to the top winner, first place, Emmanuel Rimocal. He is the winner of the regional spelling bee. So congratulations going on, and congratulations, of course, to everybody, second place and third place. It's great to see that the youth are taking part in all these school activities, considering, of course, still the differences in learning and going to school this year, still with threats of COVID and everything that is going on. It's good to see that the students and that the schools and the clubs are taking the time to go ahead and make things as normal as possible for everybody. It is very important, of course, for everybody to go back to some type of normalcy, whether if it's students at school or individuals getting back to work. This year a lot of things, or last year a lot of things were different. People working from home, a lot of students, of course, doing the virtual learning, and it's good to hear that slowly, little by little, it might be at a snail's pace at times, but things are getting back to normal little by little, and it's good to see these activities at school trickle down now to the elementary school levels. I know that with the high schools, they try to keep it as close to normal as possible with sporting activities, but I feel that the elementary schools were left out a bit, and it's good to see that activities for them as well are getting back a little bit back to normal. We do have one more update that I want to share with you, and this comes from the city of Laredo, and it tells us that the Laredo International Airport's parking program has recently gone through an update, and they have some new fees that are taking place actually immediately. Okay, they tell us that the airport will be having new fees, and the new fees have been amended per city council, and they were approved on March 21st. And they also not only have new fees, but they have new hours. Okay, so the way that this is going to run, as far as the fees and the time that you're allowed to park, you're going to have 30 minutes of parking, which would be free. Okay. And then, after that, you will have increments that will start at $1 going up to $10. The $10 fee will be a daily rate that will be maxed out at $10. And, this is, of course, approved by a city council. This was approved at a city council meeting on March 1st. These fees are taking effect now immediately. And you could, if you're going to go to the airport, definitely get information as far as how you're going to park, where you're going to park. If you need to get information as far as pricing is concerned, availability of parking, sometimes, of course, parking is limited, or you might want to ask where exactly you'll be parking, especially if you're taking a flight or you're picking somebody up and time is of the essence. The best thing would be to call the City of Laredo Airport Customer Service Department. You can reach them at 956-795-2000. Again, that is 956-795-2000. So definitely give them a call in case that you're headed to the airport. Again, there's new fees and there's new time limits as far as the time that you will be allowed to park. Okay, and and another note, going into a little bit of information at the national level. It was reported today that President Biden's administration has announced that they're seeking at getting everybody, of course, everybody here in the country in the United States vaccinated, and they've set a target date of April 9th. That will be I'm sorry, April 19th. April 19th is the target date that has been set up now by the Biden administration as far as trying to get everybody vaccinated. I myself have been vaccinated. I had the Pfizer vaccine. I do recommend it. It is a great peace of mind, of course, and it does help you. It's supposed to help you with your immune system. I, for one, have felt better. I felt a lot better as far as not only physically, but mentally, knowing that I have some type of protection from COVID. It's the risk of getting COVID, of course, is still out there, even if you get vaccinated. This by no means guarantees that it does not guarantee that you won't get COVID. There's still, of course, a possibility of contracting the virus, unfortunately, but it does help build your immune system. If anything, I guess the one guarantee that the health officials have said is that you will get the symptoms, but it should not be as harsh as it would be. And if you have underlying conditions and you're worried, I for one, and I'm going to share something a little personal with you. I for one do have underlying conditions. It was always a worry to me as far as being exposed to the virus and having you know an unfortunate incident where I would come gravely ill, or of course death itself. I lost a lot of good friends last year, and it's always the threat of the virus has always been on my mind, and that's why you see me with a mask, especially when there's people in here with me. Today I do have somebody here in front of me with the broadcast. I do have people who are helping me out with making sure that this video cast is done as successfully as possible, and out of respect for them, and they in turn in respect for me, we do wear a mask when we're around each other. And I do encourage everybody to definitely still practice COVID guidelines, whether if it's wearing a mask, practicing safe social distancing. Do make sure that that you protect yourself and your loved ones, your friends, your community. The only way to help prevent the spread is to work together, and that's the best way. And the updates, like I had said earlier, you can see them at laredobuzz.com. Go to www.laredobuzz.com. You will also see a lot of other neat features. One of the things that I really love and take a lot of pride in, of course, is aside from the updates, is the music selection. I'm a big music fan. I love all types of music, everything from rock music to, of course, Tejano music and so forth. And you will find links that are connected to iHeart radio stations, and sometimes you want to listen to something a little different, and there's a lot of neat links. If I'm not mistaken, I have about 25 links there available. And speaking of radio stations, I'd like to give out a shout out to our friends at the Cure here locally, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll give you the exact frequency for them. I have a good friend, Mr. AJ Moore, who is actually a DJ. He is a DJ there at the radio station, and we are looking at establishing a working relationship with them. And we will be trying to get you as much information about them as possible. And they of course will be doing the same thing for us. And the frequency for the Cure is 103.1. It is a rock station, and because it's really exciting to see how the music here in Laredo, as well as all types of entertainment, which is the nightlife, how it's evolved in the past couple of years. One of the biggest gripes that we always had was that there was no rock music, or that we didn't have much of a selection, or that we didn't have a lot of options as to what was available. And it's good to see that the Cure 103.1 is offering a an alternative to the music selection that is out there. And you can listen to Mr. AJ Moore. He is one of the DJs. We'll get more information from him soon as far as what he does there at the radio station. Not only is Mr. Moore a DJ, but he is also, if I'm not mistaken, he is a bassist for Bajo Silencio. And we will be having him on board soon, so he could tell us a little bit about his experiences, not only as a DJ, but as a local performer. And I'm really curious to ask him a lot of questions as far as how he kept up with his music and his talents during COVID. And they're coming back as far as playing live and at the local venues. And I would love to ask him, of course, how that is going and how it's all playing out. How do they feel, as far as coming back after, if anything, nearly a 1 year layoff. 1 year layoff, and anything that you do, not only does it affect you financially, but it has to have some type of effect in your psyche. And I'm very curious to ask AJ how things develop for him, and how they're developing, and how things are going at the moment. Again, that's AJ Moore. He is a DJ for the Crew. I'm sorry, I said it was the Cure, but it's actually the Crew. It's the Crew, and that's a rock station here in Laredo. The Crew 103.1. Definitely tune into them. It's an all rock station. I myself tune into it. I love the music selection, great music, and it is great to see that we do have music out there that it's a little bit different from what we've had in the past. And all radio stations here in Laredo are great. I definitely love our country station 98.1, Z93 Tejano. I think that everybody offers, something, unique as far as how they present their platforms. The DJs, all the DJs here are wonderful. I have a lot of great friends who I've had the pleasure of meeting throughout the years, and it is great to see how they've developed their talents, not only as DJs but also as community members who are always out there, helping their community. A lot of times we see these people just as personalities, or we say, well, they're voices that we relate to, but they do more than that. They do a lot more than that. They do help out the community, whether if it's passing information out to the community, or participating at events at schools. I remember many times I would see Sammy the House Ramirez at pep rallies. I would see him at pep rallies when I would be out there invited by by some schools, as far as to participate in taking pictures for the website. I do remember very fondly, Sammy the House, Al Guevara, A Train, another good friend of mine, Fernando El Tigre Castillo from Z93. A person with a great heart, a great personality, as far as himself personally. Great love for the music, that he plays, but also a great love for his community. And I think our DJs deserve a lot of credit for the work that they do. A lot of this work does go unrecognized. We see them at events, or we hear of what they're doing, but sometimes we don't really take the time to thank them for what they do, and to thank them for their talents. There's really a lot of work that they do, not only in front of the microphones, but also behind the scenes. Whether if they're working live remotes, whether if they're participating again in events in the community. It takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of doing, not only the DJs, but also the radio station staffs, salespeople, and programmers and directors and so forth, and station managers. It's a lot of good people that come together to provide us with a service that sometimes we take for granted. We hear the voices, we hear the music, but sometimes we don't take the time to think and say, hey, you know what? These people are providing a great service to provide us with much needed entertainment. Much needed entertainment. Sometimes they get us by our morning routine. They'll get us by the morning drive, the afternoon drive to lunch, and then of course the drive back home. So big shout out to all the DJs out there and all the radio stations, especially in particular our friends at 103.1. I love their station, and I love their format. So definitely tune in to Mr. AJ Moore and the crew at 103.1. We're just about getting ready to speak with our friends. We will have, like I told you, we will have our friends that will join us. We do have Miss Sandra Witten, and I did one thing that I forgot. I forgot to send them the link. I sent them the link. I forgot to send them the invitation, and we're going to go ahead and start off in a bit here with Miss Lopez. You might remember Leah Lopez from last week. She did join us along with Miss Vasquez, and she will be coming back today. Ms. Vasquez, of course, is known as Piel Morena. She is a conservative citizen here in Laredo, as well as Ms. Leah Ann Lopez. And Ms. Leah Ann Lopez is a member of the, if I'm not mistaken, the Laredo Young Conservatives group. Well, we're going to get the actual complete name in a minute. I'm seeing if she is. I know she's tuned in. I know she's on Messenger. I'm still trying to get used to a lot of these functions as far as how this works and so forth. And I'm trying to see how it is that we're going to get the invitation out to Miss Witten. And she tells us, Miss Sandra Witten will be joining us in a few, but we will be adding Miss Lisa Ann Lopez in a few minutes. And again, bear with me, everybody. I'm still learning these this system as far as how we do the video cast. I got the sound cast, or the you would call it the radio cast, pretty down pat, but when it comes to the video, it's still a learning process. There's a lot of other things to learn as far as how these things are done. But it is interesting. I love the learning process, and as we go along, things will get easier and they will get better. So just bear with me, and we're gonna go ahead and add her in a minute. And I'm gonna share some of what I did this weekend. I did take the time to travel a bit more around Texas. This week, my trip started in San Antonio and New Braunfels, where I spent Easter with my family. And not only did I get to spend Easter with them, but I also had the opportunity to travel or go out to see new areas. Um, you know, where I got to see new areas, parks, and so forth. And I shared a lot of these videos here on Facebook, and You can see them if you backtrack my profile. You can see them. I'm typing at the moment, so I'm sorry with you if I'm breaking up a bit. But you can see what I saw on my trip this weekend on my video profile. Uh, you'll be able to, I love taking these trips because to me it's a great way not only to relieve stress but to learn. And by that I mean I get to see what is going on in other areas of Texas and our surrounding areas. And as I had told you, I myself ran a campaign last year, a political campaign uh, for UISD trustee. And I hate to say political, or use that term loosely because I think that when somebody runs, you're running to represent an area, you're running to represent constituents. And the way I see it, it's public service. We use the term loosely as far as political campaigns because of course we it definitely falls under that category, but I have different thoughts when it comes to campaigns and public service and elected officials and parties. One of the things that I've always said here in Laredo, we definitely need more options as far as parties are concerned, candidates, and the way things are done. And I'm glad to see that the Republican Party in Laredo has been growing, as well as what I said about the music and entertainment scene. The Republican Party in Laredo has been growing at a tremendous pace. I remember years back, the joke was always, there's only a selected few Republicans out there as far as one, two, three, four. That was always a joke. Then it went into a bigger handful, and from that we went into the hundreds, and now there's a lot more Republicans out there, who is the that there's a lot more Republicans out there who are participating in Laredo, and of course one of them is Miss Leah. I love her, her attitude, and I was really surprised and amazed at her age. Last year, I had a little bit more time to speak with her behind camera, and she is actually 18 years old. And I don't mean to share personal information about her as far as her age, but it is very impressive for an 18-year-old young lady to be as active as she is in her community and to be active within her, with her beliefs and her party, which is, of course, a conservative value based system and a conservative way of looking at things. We are joined by Miss Sandra Lynn Witten today, who was a candidate for Congress. She did run against Henry Cuellar, and she is a candidate, on the ballot again. She will be returning for a run again, and we're going to speak with her in a few minutes. We're going to get to know her a little bit more. Leanne will be with us also, and I'd also like to say hello to Cynthia Vasquez, Miss Vasquez, who goes under Piel Morena. She is a very nice person as well, a great person of great conservative values here amongst our community. She was a big factor in getting this video cast going. She will be returning with us soon, and I'm very excited that Ms. Vasquez will be joining us. Today we are joined by Lee Ann Lopez, and we're going to go ahead and start getting the feeds going. We will be starting here with welcoming Ms. Witten. Ms. Witten, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much, and it's very exciting to welcome you to our second podcast and or video cast. This is our second video cast, and I'm very excited to have somebody of your stature joining us.
Oh gosh, thank you. I'm actually really short.
Oh, oh, that is that there is great to know. But I do thank you for joining us, and I'm excited to to meet you because there's a lot of things, of course, that I would love to ask you. Our time is limited, but I will be asking, of course, something basic as far as maybe getting to know you a little bit more on a personal basis. Sometimes we hear the names out there of candidates who are running for any particular office, but depending on the timing of everything from the candidate's announcement to the candidate's time as far as getting information out there, but not only the timing of them, but also the candidates of the voters themselves. Sometimes you can go all out there. You can be doing the door knocking. You can have all the literature. You could be on video casts such as this, or podcasts, or TV, or commercials could be running, but you never know if that message or that information, at what time does it get to the voter? At what time does it get to the citizens? And I learned that because I myself ran a campaign last year for UISD trustee. And because of my fears of COVID, and as you can see, I do wear a mask. I do have people here in front of me, and they're wearing a mask as well. And but my campaign was a little different last year. I was a little intimidated by COVID. I didn't do the traditional grassroots campaigning, the door knocking, the public speaking, and so forth. And I did learn a lot from it. And I noticed, of course, timing is everything. Information, as far as how it gets to the citizens, to the voters, has a lot to do as far as how they vote. I've had a lot of people approach me now, and they say, "Hey, you know what? We didn't know you were running. We didn't know who you were, or we heard the name, but we couldn't place the name with the face. Now we know. Next time around, we will support you." And that's why I'm excited to meet you, because I've heard a lot of wonderful things about you, and I love seeing, like I said earlier, options out there as far as parties are concerned, conservative, options, I'm really excited. But if you can go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, so people could get more familiar with you, and
Well, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for running, because what most people don't understand is it's the stuff that's down ballot that actually has the most say and input of what's going on in your life on a day to day. And school board is something that we preach long and hard about. We have got to get conservative views in on the school board. So thank you for running. And I hope that if you do decide to run again, if you do decide to run again, that you get all the support in the world, because to see the indoctrination stuff that they're trying to do with the whole plan of everything in the school board, and getting to travel around the state as much as I do, I can actually see the impact and see what's happening, what they're trying to influence our children with. So please don't give up on a conservative run for school board. And anybody else who's listening, if you're looking at running in a down ballot race, make the change in your community. You don't have to go all the way straight to the top. Your community needs these lower level, I say lower level, but really you guys are the top of the cream of the crop for those the down ballot races. They're so vital. So thank you for that. So my name is Sandra Witten. I have lived here in Laredo for 12 years. I've been actively involved in Little League. Father Magdalene Park is our baseball park that we play at Northwest Little League. I've been on the board there for about 9 years, and I've been coaching t-ball all the way up to the minors and majors. So I'm definitely a baseball mom. Here in Laredo, I've also taught dance when Higher Grounds Dance Studio is still here. I was part of their competitive team. I helped with the critiquing and stuff like that, and I taught the little ones tap and ballet, and I was at Dance Expressions almost 12 years ago. So I've definitely been involved, and then I've been involved in the churches and just in the community in general. I'm a Border Patrol agent wife. I helped start and run a couple of family agency kind of networks, if you will, so that we can kind of get to know each other. Because what happens is so many people, Laredo has got such a unique climate for people, because we have people that have been here their entire lives or entire generations, but then we have people that pour in from all over the country to secure our southern borders and to work in federal law enforcement. So and of course our trucking industry. I mean, I can go on and on and on about the different nationalities, and all the just it's a melting pot here in Laredo. We get our numbers for being so Hispanic because of our the people who have lived here there forever, but a lot of people don't change their residency to here, so it doesn't truly reflect our real numbers. But I love Laredo. I love South Texas. I never thought that I would when I moved here, but it has become beyond home for me and my family. In fact, our youngest two children have been born here in Laredo.
Great, great. And on behalf of everybody, we do thank you for the community work, especially when it comes down to coaching. I myself have coached basketball, girls basketball, starting, of course, with my daughter's basketball teams. And it's great to see parents and community members involved with the youth. Now, what made you look into to the Republican Party? I know you ran, of course, under the Republican, banner. What is it exactly that attracts you to the Republican Party, not only as a candidate, but as a citizen, and of course as a female candidate?
So it's all about the platform. It's all about my values. My family, when I was a kid, my parents always taught me both sides of the issue. That's exactly what I do for my sons. And my sons can educate people on both sides of the issue, whether it's Republican or the Democrat issue. It doesn't matter. They can speak intelligently on both sides of the issue. And that's important, because you can't have a stance on something if you don't know what the counter stance is or what the counter argument is. So it's important, just like in debate club where you have to debate both sides of the issue, it's important to do that with politics. The reason that I chose the Republican Party was because I am a pro-life candidate. I am a firm Second Amendment candidate. I'm a firm First Amendment candidate. I'm a constitutionalist. And when I looked at both sides of the platforms, I realized from early on that I was a Republican because of my values. Didn't have necessarily to do with the candidate. I know a lot of people have been woken up to the Republican Party thanks to President Trump. However, it's not about one person. It's about a belief system. It's about who's my values. And when you look at a higher office like U.S. Congress or your state reps and things like that, it's kind of important to I hate to say vote party, but to vote party, because right now we have the argument, without saying my opponent's name, that, well, he's a conservative Democrat. Well, the problem with being a conservative Democrat is that still a Democrat in that chair, and we have our beloved Nancy Pelosi, who does not care about the goodness of America in her heart, as the Speaker of the House. So we don't have the pull in the House that we need, and unfortunately, these totalitarian regimes, if you will, are coming in and they're trying to pass stuff, or they are passing stuff, and we don't have enough Republicans in the House to be able to take a strong enough stance to sway the House the other direction.
Correct. The 28th Congressional District, what area does that actually represent? I know you said, of course, that you're a citizen here of Laredo,
Mm-hmm.
but exactly where does the district start? Where does it end?
So it kind of starts up in the Universal City, Live Oak, Converse, Selma, way up top of San Antonio. And then it comes all the way down here to Laredo and then out to Mission, Texas. We're the second largest land district in the state. We encompass over 9,000 square miles. And I'm pretty certain I've driven almost every single one of them.
Great, great.
If not pretty close. So we have a lot of land to cover, but it's important. And we have one of the most diverse districts in the state also, because we're so large. The needs of people in Bexar County are vastly different from the people's needs in Starr County, for example, or Zapata County. So, it's important that you really take the time to dive in and learn what each part of our district truly needs, and make sure that we're representing all parts of our district, because Laredo might be the largest voting portion of our district, but every single person in all 9 counties matter.
Correct. Now, does the district cover south of Laredo, as far or farther from Laredo? You mentioned Zapata right now. Up to
Yeah.
where
Mm-hmm.
exactly does it go?
So we go all the way to Hidalgo County, so Mission, Texas, right before McAllen. So we we cover 4 counties here along the border, and it's exciting. I get to see a lot of everything, and one of my favorite things to be able to kind of educate outsiders on is that Laredo and Zapata, for example, are not the valley. So the valley really doesn't kind of start until we get a little further into Starr County, and so a lot of times what also happens with that is that people assume that McAllen and Laredo are the same, and that the needs are the same, and that well, if we took care of McAllen, so Laredo's fine. No, no, no. Laredo's completely separate. It's about 3 hours apart, and the needs are different, and the people are different, and it's a different climate. As much as it's only 3 hours away, but it's still completely different. So we spend a lot of time educating people that Laredo is not the valley and the valley is not Laredo, and that's a good thing. It's okay to be different.
Correct. I had mentioned a few minutes ago of the changes in the political climate in Laredo. Of course, before the thought was always, Laredo 99.9 Democrat and so forth. There's been a change throughout the years. Especially in the last election, we got to witness, of course, the Trump train, the rallies, even in South Laredo. I myself am from South Laredo, and I was really amazed and really proud and happy to see a lot of trucks being driven around with the Trump flags. What do you attribute the change to?
I think that 4 years ago in 2016, I told everybody then that South Texas was the most Republican or the most conservative place I've ever been to in my entire life, and I've traveled all over the world. But they didn't know they were Republican, and I say that because the Republican Party has never spent any time in South Texas. They've never spent any time in Laredo specifically, and so what happened was, since nobody was showing up, nobody was paying attention to us. Nobody knew, but the Democrats were doing a great job. Like, they spend tons and tons and tons of money and time and resources down here, but the Republicans weren't. And the Republicans still weren't until Lieutenant Colonel Allen West became the chairman of the Republican Party of Texas. Right before then, he had come down here at my request. I've known him for a couple of years now, and we did an Open Texas rally back in May of 2020, and people were shocked, and we really didn't know what to expect. We got to partner up with Hector at Lazy Boys Tattoos, and we partnered up with Hugo over at what's his salon's name? Anyway, Hugo's is over there off of Springfield, and they said, hey, we want to be able to do something. Like, we need to open our businesses. They're telling us that we're not essential, but our families are essential. What can we do? Tell us that you're going to do something different. And so I said, well, okay, let's do something different. And I had already spoken at a couple of Open Texas rallies around the state. So I said, hey, organizers, can you bring this down here? Allen West said, absolutely. He came down here and he fell in love with South Texas. In fact, he's been here 5 times since May of 2020. And when he's got 240 something counties that he's got to pay attention to, I think that speaks highly of the value that he sees here in South Texas. And people are hungry for that conservative message. So I do attribute Trump for kind of waking people up and shaking people and letting them know that, hey, there's a different point of view. There's a different way. But I think that, now that the Republican Party is seeing what we've been saying for years, and especially what we said 2 years ago when we first started running, everybody thought I was crazy, because the statistics don't meet up, and, it just doesn't look like it's a win. But Laredo made the most drastic change without flipping than any other city in the country. And that's impressive, considering as how nobody spent any resources or time down here except for my campaign, Frank Pomeroy's campaign, and the Trump campaign did pay a little bit once they saw the Trump trains. We did get several signs, but the reality was that we still weren't quite getting the attention that we needed financially. And because people they kept looking at the resources going, well, I don't think it's going to work out. And then when I said, but you're not looking at the heart, and that's my slogan, is restoring the heart, for this very reason, because we've got to get into the heart of the matter. And I'm sorry, I have my assistant is helping us today. I do
It's great
apologize.
to see an added guest here to the podcast. And you see, and that's the beauty about doing these things, that you get to see the human side of a candidate. And, of course, you are a mother, you are a wife, and a community member. And it is great that we get to meet your family.
This is my daughter Charlotte, it's our only little girl.
So thank you
She's
for
only
joining.
known politics. She was born in right after I decided to run. So
Great, and again, I think that adds a little bit of the human element to the candidate and to who you are. And I know that you're busy there with your family. There's so much to ask. I wanted to ask you about your platform.
yeah, of course.
Not only, of course, the platform that you ran under the last election, which took place, if I'm not mistaken, in November, the general election,
Mhm.
but Miss Leah did tell me that you are a candidate again, that you will be running, and it's great to get an early start again, getting people in for familiar not only with your name, but what you represent in values as not only as a citizen and a parent and a family member, but also as a candidate. And if you want to take time and tell us a little bit about the platform and what it is that you have to offer us as a candidate, and when is the next election taking place?
So we'll have a primary, and traditionally it would be in March of 2022. However, with redistricting taking a little bit longer because we had to wait for the census numbers, it our primary could actually get pushed back until either late summer or early fall. So it's going to be a long primary season for everybody, and of course, redistricting is something that we will have to take into account also. But I made a commitment when I decided to run 2 years ago that South Texas mattered, and I wasn't going to give up on it. And so that's exactly why I'm running again. My platform it's simple. It's what makes sense, right? Because people want to be able to relate to something. They don't want something that seems outlandish. They don't want a bunch of empty, broken promises that sound fantastic. Well, they said this, but then they couldn't deliver, or it's typical political speech. So we cut all of that out. We did it in 2020. We're going to keep it that way in 2022. Our big thing is border security. That is so huge, and it's not just because it's a hot button topic. I mean, I told you earlier, this is my life. This is what brought me to Laredo. I love Laredo, but we're being abused from the cartel, and I've never made a secret about that. Our silence from the cartel is our compliance for the cartel. And people can say, well, all they want to, that, oh, they're kind of like Robin Hood down there, or this, that, and the third. But when I sit on my front porch or my back porch, even here in Laredo, and I'm listening to the drug wars going on across the river, that's not safety. That's not security. And our border patrol agents deserve better, and they need more resources. And our opponent has not done his job. I'm glad that he's now finally being extremely vocal about what's happening here on our southern border right now. But he doesn't have a choice. He's been saying that for the last 4 years that we didn't have an issue in South Texas, that there was nothing to see here essentially. And that's not been the case at all. Because if that was, then we wouldn't have tractor trailers on the side of 35 with 80 to 90 people in the back of them. We would not have stash houses all over the place. We have got to quit not talking about this stuff, because when we're silent, we're allowing it to happen. And,
Correct.
and here in Laredo, we're good people. I have yet to meet somebody here in Laredo who's like, well, it's not my problem. To an extent, there are some cases where people are like, yeah, but as long as I don't say anything and I don't have any issues. But there's also power in numbers. And when we really care about the women and the children that are being abused in this whole situation, then we're really going to get serious about border security. It's not because Laredo is unsafe, like Albert Torres tried to make it sound like that's what we were saying. That was never it at all. It's what's happening through Laredo. They tout false numbers with the Laredo Police Department and the FBI's numbers, but they don't want to talk about the real numbers, which are the GHS numbers. Let's talk about those crimes, because once we can identify them, then we can get rid of them. So border security and everything that is surrounding that, especially the human trafficking, that is something that I'm very passionate about, and I'll continue to be passionate about that. We need to bring in more jobs in our area. We're at a 30% poverty rate in our district, and most of that is right here in South Texas, the southern part of our district. It's because we don't have healthy competition here. We don't have more high paying jobs because nobody wants to deal with the almost, the federal crimes that are being committed here, or the cartel, or better yet, city council who won't allow land to be released so that new things can be built. People don't want to do business especially here in Laredo and in South Texas, because they're used to the good old boy system, or the politicera system, or whatever you want, the patron system as we call it down here. And so they won't bring in new businesses. We have all of these brand new plazas here, specifically in Laredo, for example, and all of them are the exact same store. How many Rosses and TJ Maxx? And don't get me wrong, I love Rosses and TJ Maxx. I shop at them all the time. But how many more of those do we need when we could be bringing in other businesses? We could be bringing in other industries. We have the number one trade port in the entire country, and it gets overshadowed because nobody wants to pay attention to that. The businesses aren't bringing their families down here because there's nothing for them here. We all live here. Would a water park be great? Yeah, that'd be fantastic. But that's not exactly all that we need. We need more jobs. Laredo has a very high college graduation rate. We have a lot of kids that go off and go to college, but then they don't come back because there's no competitive jobs. I had a friend who was here from Jacksonville, Florida. She was an accountant there. She couldn't get a job here for more than $9 or $10 an hour because she wasn't from here. There wasn't healthy industries. Everybody hires their friends, which is fantastic, but that doesn't allow us to grow as a community either. And it's not just specific here to Laredo. It's all along South Texas. We've got to do better. We've got to bring in more jobs. It's one of the things that I want to platform and highlight. I have a great history. We have amazing history here all throughout our district. We're actually the pathway to the Alamo. Nobody wants to talk about it. There's a whole historical industry that's available to us just from things that we already have here. They just have to be cleaned up, and we've got to market it properly. So I've got some really great ideas on ways to do that, but we've got to address the border crisis issue so that we can bring people down here. We've got to get this mentality out of our mind that all of our tourism has to come from Mexico. I want Mexican tourism, but I also want U.S. tourism to come here. That was one of the complaints from the whole thing with Albert Torres. They kept making it sound like we only wanted tourism from Mexico. We had to make sure that we didn't want to account for the fact that the Republican Party of Texas was here and other outside groups were here in Laredo, spending money at our hotels, at our restaurants, at our shops, engaging with our people, and they fell in love with South Texas. They fell in love with Laredo. In fact, one of the groups wants to come back and do a cleanup at one of our parks and, just kind of pour into Laredo, because the kind of the stigma around the state has always been if anything south of I-10 doesn't matter. Well, we're changing that. We're putting Laredo on the map. And that's not to say that we have to turn into some big, huge metropolitan, but we deserve better. And the only way we're going to get better is if we start changing leadership and we start getting active and allow other groups to come in. We have an outlet mall and it's at like 50% capacity for stores because businesses don't want to come down here because they don't see the numbers.
Correct, and that's a great way of looking at things. And one thing that I've always said, of course, is that we definitely need to focus more locally as far as where we look into avenues of revenue. Like you said, it was always looked into. Well, the tourism from across the border, and I always said, we need to not only enhance our local markets for our local citizens, but also attract people from the surrounding areas. The past 3 weeks, I've taken the opportunity to travel here nearby, within the state of Texas. I've had the opportunity to visit Austin for the very first time and absorb their culture there. And San Antonio, New Braunfels, Green, Texas, Rockdale, Pflugerville. I paid a visit to the Valley, Edinburgh, San Juan, and I got to see a lot of interesting places along the way. Yesterday I was in Corpus, and it's great to experience these trips because you get to see what they're doing over there, and you get to compare a little bit of what goes on over there in their communities and what happens in Laredo. And it's like you said, Laredo has so much potential as far
Mhm.
as what it offers not only their citizens, but what it offers the surrounding areas. Our culture here is very, very unique. It's very flavorful. Everything, of course, from the restaurants, but the way that we do things. Laredo is always very friendly. I'm not saying that the other surrounding areas, but I think that some than others, and we could definitely improve on that. Ms. Whitten, I'm going to let you go. I know that you're there with your family, and we will get to talk a little bit more in the future. I do thank you for coming on board. Thank you very much. We will go ahead and extend an invitation to you again in the near future. I'm very excited, not only of the fact that I got to meet you, but that there's going to be more people who are going to be exposed to your message. And we're starting off slowly with the video cast and everything, but I'm hoping that with time this grows to be a little bit bigger, and I look forward to your next visit. Thank you very much. Thank you, Charlie, for
Thank
joining.
you. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very much.
much.
Gracias. And
Bye.
bye. And again, I thank you, and we'll be talking soon.
Alrighty. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Okay, guys, that was Miss Sandra Witten. I do thank her for coming on board and joining us, and it was very interesting to meet her, not only as a candidate for the 28th congressional district, and as a conservative, but also to meet her and as a citizen of Laredo, and to meet her as a parent. We got to learn a little bit of her volunteer work. We definitely got to hear about her values or her ideas. And it's like I said earlier, Laredo needs to embrace a lot more than the traditional, political philosophies. There are a lot of good candidates out there, whether if it's for the Conservative Party, whether if it's for the Green Party. There's a lot of interesting views, and I think that as citizens and as voters, not only do we owe it to ourselves and to our neighbors to participate in the electoral process by voting and well, first registering to vote. It's very important to be a registered voter. It's just as important to be a registered voter as it is to have a driver's license. If you have a driver's license, I don't see any reason why you should not be a registered voter. And then the other thing, if you are a registered voter, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't go out and vote. You already took the first step in registering to vote. Exercise your right to vote. Go out and vote. And when you're out there voting, or when you're out there considering candidates, look at everybody. Don't go, with your traditional, or with the traditional mentality that's been along for so long, as far as, oh, I'm going to vote the way my compadre says, or the way that an employer says. Vote your heart. Listen to the candidates. Familiarize yourself with the needs of your community, with the issues. Either if it's a campaign at a lower level, and there's no lower levels like Mr. Witten said, but even if it's a start off type of a position, going up, leading up to presidential elections, always learn, try to learn and listen to the needs of your community. Try to see, the different perspectives as far as what candidates offer. And it's not just about parties. It's not about, just, oh, I'm gonna vote this way because, my parents were conservative, or my parents were Democrat. You as an individual take the time to go ahead and look into, a lot of, of what's out there. What is out there as far as the races, what is out there as far as the candidates. What do they have to offer? What have they done in their community? What are their intentions? Vote your heart and vote for the candidate with the best intention, because a lot of these times it's too late. A lot of times, you get the wrong people in there, and you either don't get the funding or you don't get the representation that you need for your community. Make sure that you do vote your heart, like they say. Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and put an end to this. I do thank you, everybody who was able to tune in. Like I said, this is only our second video cast. I'm very excited. We're starting off. Everything starts somewhere. You have to have a starting point, and this is our starting point. And I'm very excited. I'm very happy. And I thank everybody who has gotten us to this point, whether if you're viewing, whether if it's you're sending me a message. The message alerts were going up left and right. I do thank everybody for feedback. I do thank the guests who have joined us up to this point. We've had three guests. Miss Vasquez, who's known, of course, goes under in Facebook as Miss Piel Morena, Miss Leah Lopez, and then, of course, today we did have a conversation with Miss Sandra Witten, who is a candidate. She is a candidate. She will be running for the 28th Congressional District. We do thank you, Miss Witten, for taking the time to speak with us. And it's good to see a face now with the name. I myself had heard of her in the past, but I didn't really know her as a candidate. I didn't know her as a person. I'm glad that she took the time to speak with us. I didn't know she was from Laredo. So it is good to hear that she is from Laredo. It's good to hear, of course, that she is a parent and a wife to a Border Patrol agent. And I'm hoping that through this video, these types of video casts, that we'll get to not only to speak with her a little bit more, but that we get to reach out to more candidates and more members of the community. Now, mind you, it doesn't just have to be members of the Republican Party or Conservative Party. If you're out there on the flip side as a Democratic candidate, reach out to us. Sometimes I don't have the time to reach out to everybody, but go ahead and reach out to us, and I'll take the time to speak with you. And you don't necessarily just have to be a candidate running for office. I would love to hear from everybody out there. We will be opening up a segment in the future where I would like to speak to citizens of Laredo so that they can speak to us a little bit of their work, what it is that they do. I would love to hear from mechanics, from attorneys, from doctors. I love meeting new people, and I love hearing what everybody does, whether if it's their work experience that they want to relate to us, or maybe something that they did on the weekend that they would like to share. Definitely go ahead and reach out to us. Again, we had the opportunity to speak with Miss Sandra Witten. Miss Sandra Witten did run a campaign for the 28th Congressional District. Her campaign or her election took place last year, November, in the general election. She will be running again. There might be a primary for the Republican Party. It was good to hear her speak. She did touch base on her views as far as border security is concerned, but also she did get to touch base on what she thought was needed in maybe in a bigger form as far as Laredo commerce. And we do thank Miss Sandra Witten again. Miss Sandra Witten is a candidate for the 28th Congressional District. Thank you very much, Miss Witten. We will be reaching out to her again in the near future. I'm very excited that we got to meet her and speak with her. And with time, we will be doing the same thing, and we will be asking her more questions. And I look forward to hearing her message on a continued basis. And hopefully, she can invite other candidates as well for the Conservative Party. And I'm looking forward to hearing all these views because when it comes down to it, everybody helps shape our community in one way or the other. Whether if it's community service, whether if it's the work that you do, whether if it's parenting at home, uh, you know we all shape our community one way or the other, and I'm very proud of that. And I think everybody should. And I do thank everybody for their efforts to make our community a better community. I love everybody and everything that everybody does. Our police department, our fire department, the elected officials who have taken the time not only to run their campaigns, but also to put in the time as elected officials. I think everybody offers a unique perspective and molds Laredo in a certain way. And I do thank everybody for their service. Like I had said earlier, DJs and so forth. Everybody offers something to Laredo that makes this community so unique and so beautiful. So I do thank everybody, and I thank everyone who has tuned in. Please go ahead and share this. Please go ahead and talk about it. And, I hope to hear from you guys more, especially through Messenger. I love the messages that you send, whether if it's messages of encouragement, critiques, that is good as well, because we all need to look at the different perspectives as far as how people view the video cast and so forth. And I do welcome critiques as well. Definitely tell me what you like and what you don't like about it, and participate, and go ahead and continue to be you. And I'm gonna leave you with one more message, and this is a message that we closed up last week with. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something. Don't ever let anybody bring down your self-esteem, or tell you that you don't have value as a person. Everybody has value as a person in their family system, in their communities. And always be proud of yourself, not only as a person, but as a citizen of Laredo. And do not ever let anybody discourage you from following your dreams, or doing something new, or participating in something. Don't ever let anybody hold you back. You're worth more than that, and you owe it to yourself to be the best that you can do. And if you do need to make changes in your life to be a better person, I do encourage you to look at all the avenues, and everything that is out there, in order for you to do so. Sometimes we all need to make change, and sometimes we go through things that make you change. Sometimes it's things that we don't want to deal with, that make us change. But I definitely encourage you to do your best, and to be the best person that you can be. Be positive at all times. So I leave you with that message. And again, I thank you for tuning in. We thank Ms. Sandra Witten, a candidate for the 28th Congressional District. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us, Ms. Witten. I do look forward to future video casts with you. And again, thank you. Have a great day, everybody. We will see you with a video cast again on Thursday, and then we return with the radio cast on Friday. Again, I thank you, everybody. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.